has been a while since any Core 3 episode had this amount of important major and minor additions. And trust me when I say this, you anime-only fans, and even us to a certain extent, do not understand the significance of these additions as they fix a lot of the problems that made this part of the source material a mess, as well as set up a ton of new content that we will get in the upcoming Core. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Episode 39 starts with a brief scene of Ukitake and Mimihagi's powers fading away as it officially marks the death of Ukitake. A scene that answers a question that we've been asking all along the Core, which is why didn't Ukitake instantly die in the anime just like what happened in the manga? And the reason being, in the manga, after Yhwach absorbs Mimihagi, killing Ukitake in the process, he just stays still in his palace and does not destroy the universe that did not have a keystone to stabilize it. So in the anime, they fixed it that Ukitake did not instantly die and acted as a keystone up until this moment, which fixes a plot hole in the manga as well as adds a lot of emotions to his already emotional sacrifice, as even after being on the verge of death, he tried carrying the burden of stabilizing the universe. I also would like to tie this plot line here with Yamamoto. Even after getting mortally wounded by Yhwach, he still tried to resist his fate and fight by grabbing Yhwach's leg. And as subtle as this is, tying these two plot lines adds a lot of missing depth to Ukitake's character. Remember that Yamamoto was a father figure for both Ukitake and Shinsui, and his personality influenced their actions when they had to act. Shinsui, for instance, refused to heal his eye using Orihime's powers, just like what Yamamoto did with his arm. Ukitake, on the other hand, tried resisting even in a guaranteed death situation, carrying the burden of protecting the universe. Uryu and Hashwalth's encounter being brought this early was really surprising to me. However, the way they handled it, I think this was the only way to fix the terrible manner this clash was handled in the manga, as Hashwalth cannot see the future as precise as Yhwach, which makes me wonder, will we get a better explanation for Yhwach's almighty, like how far in the future can Yhwach see? I don't know really. But what really caught my attention is when Uryu said that the future can be changed. I feel like they are trying to imply that the future Yhwach sees is not going to be accurate as they will change it, subtly foreshadowing his defeat. Or is it that Kubo sneaked this part here to imply that Hashwalth will play a role in defeating Yhwach by showing him alternate visions? There is only one way to find out. But anyways, if there was an addition that made me happy as hell, is that Kubo finally decided to give the Visoreds the spotlight they deserve. They healed Renji, who's gonna be a key character in the final Core, especially with the huge buff he has received. They even used their holo masks to hopefully do something against Gerard, which is really weird considering they didn't use them when they were getting cooked by the other Stern Ridders, so hopefully they provide an explanation in the upcoming Core, or else this will remain a plot hole. Momo and Shinji forming a duo to face off Gerard is like the first time to see them acting as a captain and a lieutenant, or be useful in general. Shinji using Hado 91 without incantation is such an insane feat considering how we viewed him. I think this feat alone puts Shinji as one of the top 10 Kido users in Bleach, and thinking about it, it actually makes sense, as he has been friends with Hachi, who is a Kido master for more than a decade, so he probably taught him a thing or two. We then cut to Askin explaining Pernida and Gerard being the Soul King's left arm and the Soul King's heart, and I always theorize that they are at the very least going to explain Pernida's origins and how did Yhwach get him out of his body in the fight against Mayuri. And what enforces these speculations is the added flashback for Mimihagi, so might as well add a flashback for the other arm. However, unfortunately, they didn't do it. So is it that they won't be explaining this part and are going to leave it for fan theories, or will they give us a Soul King flashback in Core 4 explaining how did the Soul King lose parts of his body and how did multiple characters acquire them? I don't want to get my expectations too high, but I feel like there's a good chance they might do it, as I remember one of the staff stating that the Soul King flashback is going to be split between Core 3 and 4, so hopefully the explanation is going to be part of that flashback. One seemingly insignificant scene that caught my attention is when Rangiku gazes at Gerard. Will she participate in the fight, or does she know something about him? Normally a scene like that would go unnoticed, but it is an anime original scene, so why would they add it if it didn't have any importance? Which makes me wonder, what does Rangiku have to do with Gerard? Now, if you were to ask me what is the most important addition in my opinion, my answer is going to be the setup to Ishida and Ryuken joining the battle. And instead of them joining out of nowhere only a few chapters before the ending, we got multiple scenes as well as rearrangements in the order of events to set up the Silver Arrow. And what is even better, I have got a feeling that the final battle is gonna get the same treatment as the fake Karakura final battle, as hopefully we might see them joining the fight with their sons since they made their entrance as early as Core 3. Might as well see some of their fighting capabilities. Episode 40 starts with a brief flashback of Uryu's grandfather narrating about the Ausvalen that killed both Ichigo's and Uryu's mothers, as well as explaining Uryu's responsibility to defeat Yhwach. Firstly, this flashback adds a lot of depth to the relation between Uryu and his grandfather, and retroactively explains why didn't he view the Soul Reapers as an enemy and preferred to be in good terms with them, as the real tyrant is Yhwach who is going to destroy the world at one point. It also makes Uryu's character way more fleshed out and explains why he acted alone, as he doesn't want those close to him to get hurt. Secondly, it gives us an insight into Yhwach's character and how deep his hatred towards the world established by Soul Reapers go. And lastly, the Ausvalen seems to have affected Uryu but not his mother, as opposed to what we thought initially. We always thought that Uryu is special since birth, and that's why he was the only impure Quincy to survive losing his powers. But this doesn't seem to be the case. Uryu later states that he is the only one capable of defeating Yhwach because he inherited both his mother's and grandfather's blood. So the question is this statement relevant to him surviving the Ausvalen, and what type of information is going to be added to explain what happened here? Ukyu and Rirukatu had their own anime edition visiting the Shiba residence, and I can't think of any reason to why they went there aside from convincing both Genjo and Tsukushima to join the final battle, which is again a nice minor addition that adds build-up to their appearance near the ending. Now, some people are expressing their disappointment with the way the Kira scene was handled in the anime, which I don't fully disagree, by the way. The scene felt a bit rushed, the pacing should have been a bit slower, might as well add a new original soundtrack, but this didn't happen. However, in the grand scheme of things, this scene is so insignificant, especially when compared to the other events that happened in today's episodes. You should also keep in mind that the fourth core has a lot of room for anime-only scenes, which means this might not be the last time we see Kira in the Thousand Year Blood War arc. One scene that I didn't really understand is how did Yhwach kill the Bambis? Correct me if I'm wrong, but did he just kill them while being asleep using his aura? Not only is this a major feat for someone like Orihime for being able to withstand Yuha's presence in the final battle, but what kind of disrespect is that? I thought Kubo liked the Bambis. Oh, and by the way, what is this? What are we doing right now? So, we have both Yhwach and the animators aura farming, like they didn't need to do such clean transition. At this point, they are just flexing the camera angles. And lastly, unlike the first two cores where we got a long trailer when the finale dropped, we didn't get one this time, even though we all heard the news that the studio has started working on Core 4 in mid-November. So it's not like they had production issues and could not drop a trailer. So I think the reason is either they haven't fully decided yet on what is going to happen in Core 4 in order to drop a trailer, or they are going to use the same strategy they use with Core 3 of revealing little to no information to build up the hype for the upcoming season. Either way, it is highly likely that the next core is going to drop in January 2026, and it's a shame that we are going to wait this much in order to watch Bleach again.